Chapter 15. The Desert of Choice. The boy and the fox came to a high open area that they had to cross to continue their journey. The boy looked around. He was becoming a little more wary of his surroundings, for he had been through quite a bit recently. He cast his eyes around, looking to see what perils might lurk in this new area. He saw nothing, so the boy and the fox ventured out onto the high country plain and began to make their way across it. They were no more than 10 steps into this new area before a swarm of wasps appeared from the southwest and rushed them like an Oklahoma tornado. They flew at him with a fury, and within seconds the travellers were completely surrounded. They landed everywhere on the boy's body, but interestingly enough, they did not sting him. He waved his hands in an effort to keep them from hitting him on the head. He ran and ran, but there was nowhere to go. Then he had an idea. He squatted down and put his hands over his head and neck, protecting himself and hoping that they would go away. In that instant, one wasp that had bright and distinct markings and was gigantic in comparison to the others zeroed in on the right side of the boy's neck, just about an inch under his ear. Instead of merely swarming the boy like the others had, it stung him. The boy screamed and jumped to his feet, and he ran again into the swarm of thousands of wasps. As he ran, he began to go slower and slower. It was as though he were drugged. He seemed to be in slow motion as he fought his way through the wasps. Although he was trying to run, his legs no longer moved at his command. The boy stumbled. As he hit the ground, his head was swimming, and then darkness struck him like a hammer. Lying on the ground, it was as though he dreamt in a trance, for he saw a picture in his head. He saw Hugh, elegant and wise, with eyes that spoke of firmness and truth. On the other side, he saw Worm, huge and gross. The boy shivered in his dream, just envisioning this horrid creature. The boy also saw in his dream a poor couple riding on an old wooden cart drawn by oxen. The huge wooden wagon wheels hit the cobblestone road, bouncing and jarring the occupants. As they neared the boy, he saw loaded in the back of the cart many articles of rough handmade furniture, chests, bedding, a small cage with a chicken in it. The boy thought to himself, "There's not much in that wagon." The two occupants of the wagon were fairly old. The lady had a scarf wrapped around her head, and her husband had a floppy hat and red suspenders. They both greeted him with a smile and a, "Hello, great day, isn't it? Today's the best day of your life, kid. Yesterday's spent, and tomorrow ain't for sure. So enjoy your now, your today. It's the only one you really have. See ya. Get up on now." As the wagon rolled off down the road, a burlap sack fell off the wagon. It was a small sack, no bigger than a gumball machine. The boy saw it and ran over to it. He reached down and he picked it up. It was quite heavy. He untied the string and, much to his surprise, found it full of gold coins. "Wow," thought the boy. "Look at all this money." The couple hadn't realized that the sack had fallen off, continued on the road out of sight. The boy continued to admire the gold coins, thinking, Then Hugh appeared where the boy was standing and said, "It's all they have to their name. They were going to buy a new farm because their last home was destroyed by fire. What's the right thing to do, boy?" The boy, without hesitation, answered, "Take it back to them." Then Worm slithered over and coiled around the boy, his head dangling down in the boy's face. He said, "Don't take it back. Think of all you could do with all that money. You can buy candy and toys. You can buy food and clothes and everything, boy, everything. Everything you ever wanted. Remember, finders keepers. The boy stuttered. I, I'm going to take it back. With that, he ran over the hill and caught up with the poor tattered travellers. Holding up the sack of gold, he shouted, Mister, Mrs., you've dropped something. They stopped their oxen and looked at the boy. Relief, surprise, gratefulness, and a host of other expressions flashed over their faces. The boy knew that he had done the right thing. No sooner had he handed the bag of gold coins back to the poor farmer and his wife, the vision suddenly disappeared. His head was clear, but he was still on the ground with a swarm of wasps hovering over his head. Immediately the boy jumped up and ran. Let's get out of here, he cried, and he and the fox took off across the plateau. But just as before, the wasps swarmed in and covered the boy like a glove. The boy thought, Oh no, this is it, I'm gone. Without warning, the same distinctly coloured wasp, king or likely a queen because of its great size, zoomed in on the boy and stung him in the same spot, just under his right ear. The boy's motion slowed, and he stumbled down to the ground, and again went into another, even deeper trance. The new picture forming in his head was of a school setting. He seemed to be in some kind of confrontation with his teacher, because the teacher was standing in front of him with her hands on her hips and a stern look on her face. The boy was backed into a corner. Then the boy realized what was happening. His teacher was blaming him for some wrong that had been done. He had been involved with the group that had done the deed, but his teacher felt sure the boy was totally to blame. She was reprimanding the boy, saying, I told you not to do that, and you did it anyway. Boy, you are going to have to learn, and you are going to have to suffer the consequences for what you did. As he listened to her, he became angry at the injustice of it all. He felt singled out and felt like screaming, Not fair, not right. Suddenly Hugh appeared in the trance and said, My son, is it going to help you to act out? Seriously, is it going to help you? Or will it be better for you if you just go along with what she's asking of you? You'll eventually do it anyway, right? Hugh continued talking sensible wisdom. Does she have reason to suspect you? Have you acted out before? Do you have a history of poor behaviour? Have you yourself given her reason to believe you would do such a thing? The boy's self-righteousness began to fade as Hugh spoke. Boy, you change and she'll change. But change takes time before it makes an impression. Just accept it, my son. Go along with it, and she'll change. You'll see. The boy thought about it, but then, from the other side, Worm slithered up, ugly and slimy, and he hissed, Don't be an idiot. That teacher made a mistake. It's not your fault, it's hers. Act out, get angry, blow up. Your friends expect you to. Don't be chicken. Wow, thought the boy. Hugh's right. I always act out more and still end up with punishment anyway. She believes she's right because of my past behaviour. With resolve, the boy looked directly at his teacher and he said, Okay, Miss Feuderman, what do you want me to do? Taken aback at this change in attitude, the teacher responded, Well, go sweep the hall. Yes, that's it. Go sweep the hall. And without saying anything mean or ugly or nasty, the boy walked out into the hall and he swept it. He swept it with a couple of minutes, for it wasn't a large hallway. And as he came back into the classroom and leaned the broom against the door, He realized that he had made the right choice. He felt good. In that instant, the boy awoke again to find himself back on the plateau with the fox. All he heard was, "Run, boy, run!" And run they did, but within 20 yards of the edge of the plateau and safety, the wasps swarmed in again. A third time, the same king-size wasp stung the boy's neck in the same place. He stumbled to the ground and went into yet another, even deeper, trance. This new vision put him in a home with other boys. The boy recognized all the faces. They were his friends and acquaintances. There were no parents around. The boy realized the situation was a tinderbox, and he was in control. He could either incite something or direct it peacefully. He saw several things going on around him. One of his friends was beside the couch, yelling at another one. He was accusing him of something and seemed on the verge of swinging at him. Hugh appeared beside the boy, and he said, "Do you like it, boy, when it's crazy?" Worm slid up on the other side, and he said, "Oh, I like it when it's crazy, and when it's angry, and when it's bitter and loud, and when someone hurts someone. Oh, that's insane. I like it. It's exciting." The boy, hearing both counsel, turned to his friends and he said, "Hey, Larry, come here." Larry, with a glare in his eye, walked up to the boy, who said, "Larry, man, just cool it, okay? This isn't the right place, or the right time, or the right way." He and Larry exchanged dialogue that no one else could hear. Larry finally walked away, calmer and more in control of himself. He walked up to the boy he had just been arguing with and said, "We don't need to get into this. Let's just let it go." As a calm settled over the home, the boy looked over at Hugh, who was smiling. The boy knew without a doubt that he had made another good decision. He awoke from the third trance, and again he faced the swarm of wasps. They were poised, ready to move in for the fourth time. Their attack was interrupted, however, by the sound of a bugle call. The boy turned his head to see what made the noise. There, steaming over the horizon, was Regal. Then the whole sky turned black with what must have been hundreds of thousands of Regal's friends. Sparrows, hawks, blue jays, robins, falcons, and every other imaginable bird were following Regal. They came soaring in, headed straight for the horde of wasps. The scene of all the birds and insects was incredible. It reminded the boy of a VCR on fast forward. Within a few seconds, the frenzy stopped and the sky was clear blue again. The insects were long gone, with hungry birds on their trail. The boy thought, no contests. Phantoms versus Migs. The boy and the fox walked to the edge of the barren high plateau. The boy looked back at the path they had just crossed over, and he thought deeply. Then he heard a deep voice coming from the sky saying, "You have made it through the desert of choice." The boy looked at the fox and smiled. They stood there for a while, looking out at the new country that they would embark upon. The triple peaks dominated the landscape, firm and immovable as always. The boy was certain that he was much closer now than he had ever been before.